Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ's live recap of Monday Night Raw for April 22nd, 2019. This is the first week post Superstar Shakeup. We kicked off the show with Triple H coming out to introduce the new Universal Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins, of course, in his home state of Iowa. Raw tonight was in Des Moines, Iowa. The crowd chanted, "Welcome home" at Rollins. Triple H talked about how Rollins stomped Lesnar's bucket head into the mat. Triple H talked about how now that Seth is the Universal Champion, the whole world is gunning for Rollins and the title. So what's next? Triple H said that what's next is 2 triple threat matches between the best of the best, as he put it. These 2 triple threat matches would take place, and the winners of those respective triple threat matches would face off in the main event to determine Rollins' opponent at the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So, of course, when Triple H mentions the whole world gunning for Rollins, that means pretty much everybody has to come out with a microphone. It's one of those segments where it's one guy after another. His music is cute. He comes out. He's holding a microphone. He talks about why he's going to win a Money in the Bank. Next guy comes out. You had Samoa Joe coming out first, and no official announcement about Joe. He just came out. Michael Cole said he's brand new member of the Raw roster. Just totally random. Samoa Joe comes out, says he must have missed his invitation. He said he likes Becky Lynch's concept of the 2 belts and feels like he can win the Universal title and have the second belt around his waist. Tony H with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Tony H. Says, sorry, cannot stay late tonight. Going off topic, but throw that damn Bray Wyatt new gimmick back in the lake of reincarnation, please. It'll flop bad. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. And I will talk about the Bray Wyatt gimmick in a little bit. I'm not going to go off topic. So, Tony H, you have to watch the on demand to get my thoughts. But thank you very much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Joe came out, and then we had, of course, Rey Mysterio come out with the microphone, said that he wants a piece of Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre came out, says it's his time to shine. Miz came out, says he's gotten a reboot just like the movies. Baron Corbin came out, says none of the guys in the ring have ever beaten a gold medalist. And then finally, AJ Styles comes out, and he wants to be the champion, of course. Then this led to the first triple threat match, Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles. Pretty good match here. I enjoyed it. Although I found it funny that this is the Superstar Shakeup and it's all about new feuds, new matches. And we have 3 guys from SmackDown in this match, with 2 of them involved in feuds with each other. Samoa Joe feuding with AJ Styles for all those months, and then Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio just had their match at WrestleMania. Yeah, we haven't seen Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles to my knowledge, but still, this just felt like a SmackDown match on Raw, and I thought the whole idea was to create some new matchups that we haven't seen before. So, whatever. I still enjoyed the match. It was really good. Power Packers 90 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, just got my tax refund, so here's 5 for you, my friend. Also, Bray Wyatt just became epic and Lex Luger levels of comedy gold. Well, thank you for that super chat, Power Packers. I do appreciate it. Everyone just wants to talk about Bray Wyatt tonight. I feel like that's going to be the thing that people remember from this episode of Raw. But I will get to that. Trust me. I have some things to say about Bray Wyatt, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And if you have to leave early because it's late on the East Coast, you always have the on-demand to check out. So let's go back to the triple threat match. AJ Styles, really cool finish here. I love the finish, although I'm not really a fan of who took the fall here. AJ Styles did a powerbomb to Rey Mysterio on top of Samoa Joe and then hit the Styles Clash to Mysterio on top of Joe and then pinned Joe to win the match. So Samoa Joe, the United States champion, the reigning and defending U.S. champion, loses his first match on Raw when everybody else last week got to win their matches. So, why? Okay, Knee Gear Champion with a $2 super chat says, love your reviews, but Raw is awfully bleep. I am not going to say that word. I guess thank you for the super chat, but I am not reading that word, so please don't be a jerk. That's all I have to say to that person. If you're going to troll with comments like that, I'm not going to read it. So you want to send me money, you can send me money, but I'm not going to read off your word if it's offensive. So sorry about that. There are limitations to what I will do with the super chat comments. Moving on here, I gave that guy enough attention. I did want to add that Samoa Joe was bleeding between his eyes. I'm not sure when that happened. I would have to go back and watch the match. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Samoa Joe, the United States champion, losing his first match on Raw. Why couldn't WWE have booked this a little bit differently? Like, put somebody else in there. And here's another thing. Why do you have guys that lost at WrestleMania in this triple threat match? Rey Mysterio lost to Samoa Joe, so why does Joe have to go through Mysterio to get a match with Seth Rollins? Doesn't really make sense to me, especially when Triple H says it's the best of the best. He said that. His exact words, best of the best. Rey Mysterio got beat in a minute by Samoa Joe, so why is Mysterio in this match? Huh? And it pretty much just erased what you did with Joe at WrestleMania. You give Joe this dominant win, and then he loses on Raw in his first Raw match. Masked Ninja 76 with a $2 super chat says, don't comment much, but watch your streams. Well, thank you for that, Masked Ninja. I do appreciate your viewership and your support of the channel, so thank you for that. I thought the match was good, the triple threat, but the booking of it, I think it could have been done better. Just my own opinion. Next up, we had Naomi versus Billie Kay. Again, is this Monday Night Raw or is this SmackDown? I thought the Superstar Shakeup was to change things up and do some different matches. Now, I know the Iconics can be on both brands, but they're pretty much SmackDown. They've been on SmackDown for the past several months. Naomi has been on SmackDown. So why this match? And what is this leading towards? Naomi picked up the victory despite Peyton Royce trying to interfere. And this was, pretty much a squash match. It went like 2-3 minutes. Naomi won, so does she get to pick a new partner for a title match? I'm not sure what purpose this match served. The Iconics did cut a promo before the match and said Bayley's on SmackDown now, so she must have said no to the Glow. And yeah, I don't understand what this is leading towards. Naomi beating the Iconics in this match. Iconics still haven't won a match, to my knowledge, since winning the tag team titles, unless they won at a house show. So yeah, I don't get this one. We had another Bray Wyatt promo with the creepy dolls and the doll that looks like Paige. Then we had the second triple threat match, The Miz. Apparently, Miz's feud with Shane McMahon is over. No mention of Miz versus Shane. No tease of anything else happening with them. So I guess Shane won the feud. There you go. That surprises me a little bit. I don't know why Shane needed to win the feud, but okay. I mean, I kind of like the WrestleMania finish, but you would have believed after watching that Miz would eventually get his revenge, but he did not. So Miz versus Baron Corbin, who had no entrance, by the way, versus Drew McIntyre, who got part of an entrance. They did a Tower of Doom spot in both triple threat matches. I did want to note that. It's the easiest way to get a pop, just like ripping into the local sports team will always get you heel heat. Doing a triple threat Tower of Doom spot in one of these matches will always get the crowd chanting, "This is awesome." Does it make it an awesome match? Depends on your criteria. If you're looking for creativity, probably not. But if you're easily satisfied with a Tower of Doom spot in every match, then more power to you. Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore to The Miz, and then Baron Corbin stole the pin from his heel buddy. So there you go. I wonder if we'll see some dissension between Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. That remains to be seen. Next up, we had Sami Zayn dancing to the ring as only Sami Zayn can do. He cut another great promo, in my opinion. Knee Gear Champion with a $2 super chat says, "Sorry if that was too offensive. Raw was too blank." Well, thank you for your opinion, but I'm sure nobody cares about your opinion. I only read your comment because you sent me money. Otherwise, you'd be banned from the chat. Sami Zayn said he isn't bitter. He's jubilant. He then showed photos of himself hiking and exploring the scenery in countries like European countries. Where did he say? Sweden. He might have said Switzerland. Mexico. He was laying in this hammock in Mexico. Basically, Sami Zayn was just having a great time while he was injured, but then he had to come back to this toxic culture in WWE. Knee Gear Champion with another $2 super chat says, "You've said the N-word twice now. Joke's on you." The N-word? What N-word are we talking about? Nakamura? I say Nakamura all the time. Sami Zayn said that when he came back, he was starting to feel depressed. He was starting to have anxiety, and he was wondering, was it the corporate environment? Was it the WWE superstars that feel they are entitled? I wonder if that was a shot at anybody. I don't know. But then he said the real problem, he figured it out. The real problem is the people. The people are the problem. He said he would rather be anywhere but Des Moines, Iowa. And then he said, you know what? You people could always take a trip as well. You could take a trip to hell. Love this promo. I thought it was great. Sami Zayn. I love the heel development. I love the character development. I thought that this was really fun. I was entertained by it. And to me, this was the highlight of the show. I enjoyed this more than the wrestling. As I pointed out on Twitter, which a lot of people were not happy about, I'm a sports entertainment guy. I want to see character development. Guys can do all the great wrestling matches in the world, but if there's no character development and storyline development, it's hard for me to feel invested in the stories. I like what they're doing with Zayn. Thumbs up to this segment. Amir with a $2 super chat says, "Is Sami Zayn the Daniel Bryan of Monday Night Raw?" It sure feels like that. I mean, Sami Zayn's definitely getting into that mode, a similar type of development as Daniel Bryan, but not exactly the same, different topics, but the approach is definitely similar, and I'm really liking it because I feel like it is Sami Zayn taking his real life thoughts, much like Bryan, and being able to vent his frustrations publicly and make it part of his heel character. And to me, it's working really well so far. And He-Mang with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that to both you guys, Amir and He-Mang. Sami Zayn should win Money in the Bank. That would be sweet. Hey, I'm all for it. I would be very happy with Sami Zayn winning. I would be fine with Elias winning. Next week, we're supposed to find out the participants for Money in the Bank. Alexa Bliss is going to do the moment of bliss and reveal the participants. By the way, no Lars Sullivan on Raw tonight. He's on SmackDown, so Duh. See, I keep forgetting. But as Michael Cole mentioned, I have to stay tuned to WWE.com or NoDQ.com to keep up to date on who's moving around, because it feels like craziness right now, where it's really difficult for people to keep track of who's going where and whatnot. Lars Sullivan is on SmackDown, so yeah, I forgot about that. No Lashley, no Braun Strowman on this week's Raw, which is interesting to me. Future Shocker 16 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, can you imagine the promos if it was Zayn or Kevin Owens? Or Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Yeah, I mean, that would be a great feud, and I'd love to see it with the roles reversed. But at the same time, I do think it's good to keep these guys separate for a while. I mean, they've done so much already in WWE. So I'm fine with them being on separate brands for now. But maybe eventually we could see a babyface Kevin Owens versus a heel Sami Zayn. I would love to see it. And I think we will see it one of these days. But no need for WWE to blow their load on that right now. Save it. Let people wait for it. Next up, we had Cedric Alexander. And by the way, before he got in the ring, he had a quick stare down with Sami Zayn. So I hate to say this. I know Noah Foster, Cindy, and some of the 205 Live supporters. Man, if Sami Zayn starts feuding with Cedric Alexander, that's going to be such a downgrade for Sami Zayn. I feel bad to say that, but yeah, I hope this wasn't a tease for something like that. Maybe Sami Zayn just beats Cedric Alexander and that's the end of it on Raw or something like that. But that's a downgrade for Sami Zayn if he starts feuding with Cedric Alexander. Anyways, we had Alexander versus Cesaro. So yeah, Cesaro is on Raw. The Bar looks like they are officially broken up. Now, Sheamus is dealing with a concussion right now, so he might be out of action for a while. Maybe they'll be reunited on Raw. Who knows? Depending on when Sheamus comes back. I mean, what was interesting to me is that Cesaro came out with Sheamus's music or the Bar's music. So maybe they're not breaking up just yet. Maybe the plan is for Sheamus to return to Raw and reunite the tag team, which could always happen anyways, you know. WWE management might decide, hey, let's just put these guys back together. Future Shocker 16 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, Ricochet and Money in the Bank would have epic spots. Absolutely, and I think there's a very good chance. I mean, it would be crazy for him to not be in the Money in the Bank match. I mean, I think that has to be what's happening. Ricochet's got to be in Money in the Bank. Anyways, Cesaro defeated Alexander with the uppercut against a very game Cedric Alexander, as I was almost going to say Jim Cornette for some reason, Michael Cole pointed out. Cesaro, as I mentioned, used the Bar's music, so we'll see what happens with that. Backstage, we had the Usos cutting a promo about the various tag teams. And then there was an interesting line here where Jey Uso brought up how there's an Uber outside, so there's no need to drink and drive. And then he gave this glare to Jimmy Uso, which was a reference to a real-life DUI arrest. That was really interesting to me that they would acknowledge this on TV, although I guess if you didn't follow TMZ or NoDQ.com or the wrestling sites, you wouldn't know what they were talking about. But yeah, that was something else, and that little glare was very interesting. Then we had the Revival interrupt them and said, you know, it's top guy territory, and they want to beat the Usos. And meanwhile, the Usos were starting to fall asleep. I think the Usos were doing their impression of the wrestling fans during the third hour of Raw, but that's just me. Next up, we had the Viking Raiders. So now their new name, Viking Raiders. They're no longer the Viking Experience. So they went from War Raiders to Viking Experience to Viking Raiders. Maybe there'll be the War Experience next week. I don't know what's going on with these guys. They beat the crap out of Lucha House Party. No match whatsoever. I mean, it was just a beatdown. And I guess their finisher is now the Viking Experience. So there you go. For those of you hoping the name would be gone, too bad for you, because their double team finishing move is the Viking Experience. Backstage, we had Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. For those of you that remember, they're still the tag team champions. They cut a promo about the Viking Raiders, referring to them as horny, woolly mammoths. Yes, they actually used the word horny, and said that they've been there for 2 weeks, while Hawkins and Ryder have been there for 10 years, and they earned the tag team titles. Yeah, I guess they earned it, you know? Hawkins lost like 250 matches and then got a title match out of nowhere and then just happened to win at the pay-per-view. So yeah, they really earned it. Way to put over your baby faces, WWE, by having them say lines like that. Hamp Connell with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. He says the unemployment office Raiders. Well, not yet. I mean, well, we'll see. Let's give it 6 months and see where they're at. But, I mean, yeah, I don't really have a lot of hope for these guys. I mean, as it is, it feels like these guys are going to get watered down very quickly. Next up, we had Becky Lynch come out for her promo and talked about her feud with Lacey Evans. So Lacey Evans is getting a title match with Becky at Money in the Bank. I'm not sure who Lacey beat. You guys got to let me know in the chat room. Who did Lacey beat to get this title match? Because I am blanking here. I just don't remember who she beat. Natalya. Okay, there you go. I guess you beat one person, which I suppose is better than beating nobody. She did beat Natalya, so if you could beat one person, that gets you a title match in WWE. So there you go. Becky referred to Lacey as a second-rate Charlotte Flair, compared her to Charlotte, saying that she's a bleach blonde, that curried favors from management, and then said that Lacey's probably in the back trying to further her career. Nice little dig there at Lacey Evans' little TV-14 diss. Pretty cool. I liked it. Lacey Evans came out for her rebuttal. She said that Becky is like a man because she's always thinking she's the center of attention. Ooh, what a little diss that was. And then Lacey said that she's a lady and therefore, unlike Becky, she is able to control her emotions and she will be leaving Money in the Bank with both championships. So apparently, both titles are on the line in this match. Okay. Very confusing, but there you go. Lacey Evans beat Natalya. She beat one person, and now she gets a chance at both championships. Wow. There you go. Okay. Whatever. We had Becky Lynch beating Alicia Fox with the disarm her, and then afterwards, Lacey Evans came in with an immediate women's right, and then hit a second one for good measure. Alicia Fox actually got more offense than I thought she would in this match. I figured this was going to be, you know, a 1-minute squash match, but no, it actually went to commercial, and Alicia Fox got a little bit of offense. So there you go. We had Baron Corbin backstage saying that he's not looking at AJ Styles. He's looking right past AJ Styles and moving on to Money in the Bank to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. We had Ricochet come out for his match, and here we go. There were two things from Raw that I think people are going to be talking about for a while. And this was one of those things. And I'm not talking about Ricochet's sound effects. What did you guys think about that? So Ricochet now has these bullet sound effects when he comes out. Little unnecessary in my opinion. I don't think you need it. His entrance was fine just the way it was. Why ruin a good thing? as far as I'm concerned. Michael Heiss says he liked it. Michael Wayne says it was trash. Tony Braden says it was cartoonish. Kev Dog says it was cheesy. And speaking of cheesy, we had a backstage promo of Bobby Roode. Robert Roode. Just like in TNA, he's back to being Robert Roode, and the beard is gone. Robert Roode only has a mustache now. I wasn't sure if it was Rick Rude or if it was the father of Joey Ryan. A lot of people have their own opinions of how Robert Roode was looking here with this mustache. As Caitlin says, the Robert Roode experience with that mustache. I guess so. John Tompkins says he is still a jobber. Edgar with a $5 super chat, and here we go. Everyone just wants to talk about Bray Wyatt. Edgar with a $5 super chat says, Bray Wyatt is now Mr. Rogers. Sorry if you haven't gone to that segment. It's okay, Edgar. I will get to that in a few minutes. Thank you for the super chat, though. Great. Tribulation says, Robert, quote, Freddie Mercury Rude. And Edgar says, Robert Roode is with a pedo stash. Okay. JR says, ravishing Robert Roode. Tree Johnson says, Robert Flanders. Hey, maybe Robert Roode should get the Ned Flanders metal band to do his entrance at some point. Maybe you could have a bunch of guys dressed up like Robert Roode do some death metal. There you go. Rip off The Simpsons. TK says, Tom Selleck, anyone? All right, we've talked enough about Robert Roode's 1980s porn stash. Let's move on here. Roode, during his promo, said that he dropped about 150 pounds of dead weight in Chad Gable. Roode came out for his match. Corey Graves had this line about how Bobby Roode's mustache is going to result in a spike in pregnancies in Iowa, and the announcers just pretty much cracked up and lost it at that. Interesting match here. I'm very surprised by the finish. Bobby Roode pinned Ricochet clean with the glorious DDT. So has the honeymoon period for Ricochet already ended? Robert Roode, I guess you shave your beard, you got a porn stash, you get a renewed push. But yeah, I'm surprised it was at the expense of Ricochet. Destructor of Anus with a $2 super chat says, Virtue looks like a straight knob gobbler, no lie. Well, there you go. I'm not exactly going to disagree with that. But there you go. No, Virtue's a great guy. So I think that guy is the knob gobbler. Just saying. All right, let's move on here. All right, guys. This is what you all have been waiting for. The big segment of Raw that everybody's talking about. Bray Wyatt is officially back. The speculation is over. We know those segments. Those were leading towards the epic return of Mr. Rogers. Bray Wyatt. So Bray Wyatt did this segment that was basically a parody of a children's television show. TK with a $2 super chat says, have some non-troll money. Oh, thank you so much, TK. I can always go for that non-troll money. It's very nice. I got the pile of troll money, and then I got the pile of non-troll money. So anyways, Bray Wyatt. He was talking like he was hosting a children's show. He said that he's never going to turn into that fat slob loser again, and then he proceeded to take a chainsaw to the cardboard cutout that he had of the old Bray Wyatt. So, yeah, this segment was called the Firefly Funhouse, and it was all happy-go-lucky with kids in the background. What did you guys think about this? Jeremy McGill says it's the love child of Mr. Rogers and Pee Wee Herman. TK says perfectly creepy. I like this. Hamp Connell says lame. Don Wooding says creepy. Michael Wayne says trash as hell. Michael Heiss says it was cool. Eddie Smith with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Eddie Smith. I appreciate it. He says, I'm excited to see where this all goes. As long as Bray has the creative control, I'm sure he'll make it work. I love the unpredictability. I am very intrigued by it. I feel like we should give it a chance. It's 1 week. I don't know what's going to be the follow-up. You know, we were all very quick to jump on the Matt Hardy hate train when he started doing the broken gimmick, and that ended up resurrecting his career. Now, with that being said, do I have confidence in WWE creatively to make this work? I don't. If they're going to give Bray Wyatt creative freedom with this, I have some confidence that it'll work. The question is, how much creative freedom is he getting in this? That's what remains to be seen. What will be the follow-up to this? Where would it go? If WWE is responsible for everything, this might die very quickly. But if Bray can do his own thing and make it his own and experiment with it and try different things and let it be his creative vision, it might work. It just might work. So we'll see. The jury is out on this one as far as I'm concerned. And yes, Bray definitely looks in really good shape, so we'll see. Mr. Anderson says Bray Wyatt reading Rainbow. Tic Tat Tat says I like something new. And Bailey says it's the Firefly experience. Power Packers 90 with a $2 super chat says this is classic bad wrestling like Broken Matt. Well, I was entertained by it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a good thing long run or not, or if I don't know if it's going to kill his career, but I did find it to be entertaining. And ultimately, I tune into Raw to be entertained. So, we'll see what happens. Alejandro says, finally, Bray Wyatt turned 100% Barney the Dinosaur. All right, so we have the main event of the match. Main event of the evening. It's getting late for me, guys. AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin had the usual intro where the announcer reads off the cue card. AJ Styles picked up the win with the phenomenal forearm, which actually made me sad a little bit. So here's why. Okay. I want to see AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. However, why just blow your load on this match right away? Why not save it for a little bit? Make fans anticipate the match. Build up to it. Tease it a couple of times, but don't give it to the fans just yet. Make them wait for it. Save it for SummerSlam. You know, WWE did not book Undertaker versus Steve Austin right after WrestleMania 14. They waited until SummerSlam to do that match. Pretty much the biggest match WWE could do on the Raw brand is Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. So why not save it for the bigger show? Here's the answer why they're not doing it. Because WWE doesn't have to charge $50 for a pay-per-view. They can do whatever they want on any pay-per-view. Doesn't really matter. They don't save matches anymore. They just do whatever they want. So that's the short answer why we're getting the match now. And some people out there might say, you know what? They're just giving us the match now. Let's just enjoy it for what it is. So there you go. Destructor of Anus with a $2 super chat says, how dare Virtue assume I'm some guy, you pole smoker. Okay. After this match, AJ Styles celebrated. Seth Rollins came out. The two had a handshake. So the two of them are friends for now. Will we see a heel turn from one of these guys? Now, it's possible this feud might drag out. I mean, it's possible we could see this drag out until SummerSlam. And you know what? In another era where the final match would be Hell in a Cell, I'd I'd be okay with this. If you did the first AJ Styles versus Rollins match at Money in the Bank, and then it ends cleanly, one of the guys goes heel, you have a second match, maybe at Extreme Rules, and then you have the rubber match on pay-per-view, SummerSlam, Hell in a Cell. I'd be totally fine with that. But WWE has to do their mandatory Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and thus they're not going to do a Hell in a Cell match 2 months before that mandatory pay-per-view. But yeah, if they were going to do something like that, I would be fine with that. But I feel like it's just going to be a one-off, and then it'll be like Baron Corbin or Drew McIntyre versus Rollins. To me, it's ass backwards. You should do the lesser matches first and build up AJ versus Rollins for the bigger pay-per-view. But that's just my own personal opinion. So that was Raw, everybody. Let's go ahead and do the letter grades for this show. I'm just going to say right now, it was average to me. I'm going to give it a C+, which I think is what I gave it last week. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was a terrible Raw. It was very much a mixed bag for me. So I'm giving it a generous C+. Let's see what you guys thought of the show. Kev Dog with a C, Chris Mace with a C, Don Wooding with a D, Michael Heiss with an A, Zach with a D, Virtue says K for Knob Gobbler. Nicely played there. TK with a B-. Caitlin gives it a B. Tic Tat Tat with a C+, agrees with me. Michael Wayne with a C+, agrees with me. Boston Punk with a B. And Edgar with a D because he fell asleep. Well, there you go. Ken Terminated by Google with a $2 super chat says, can you explain the Mohammed Hassan situation a troll? A troll question mark. For those of you who are wondering what he's talking about, there's this user named Mohammed Hassan. I don't think it's the wrestler. He comments on the YouTube page, and pretty much every single comment he makes is negative. Either he's bashing John Cena or bashing Roman Reigns, and he just complains every single post. So is he trolling, or is he just somebody who needs to give up on wrestling? That I don't know. That I cannot tell you. But I'm sure he'll leave a negative comment in the YouTube section. So go check it out. I'm sure he will give a piece of his mind to me for addressing this. And he'll say, you're a John Cena butt kisser or a Roman Reigns butt kisser. Something like that. And he'll say the same thing about Virtue. He did call in, Tony. So yeah, I don't know if he's trolling or if he just legitimately cannot get over the fact that Roman Reigns and John Cena are the top guys. Destructor of Anus with a $2 super chat. He is going to pay for my kids' college at this point. Kayfabe, I hope your orgy at least got 7 goth babes. BBY. Well, there you go. Thank you for the super chat, Destructor of Anus. Virtue's like, ha ha ha, keep that money flowing. Yeah, again, that guy's going to pay for my college. Or my kids' college. Maybe he'll pay for mine too. Maybe I can go back to college. Just like Ernest goes to college, Aaron goes to college. Fun and hilarity. Virtue says the wedding. Ah, good point there, Virtue. Can always use a little bit more money for that wedding fund. Did I say that too loudly? Cindy is like, WTF is this crap? Bray's gimmick is cringy as fuck. And I just used the F word, so there you go. Demonetized by YouTube. And Cindy, you're late to the party here. Did you just watch it now? Michael Wayne says, I will work issue on my Skype. Okay. YouTube comments are quite interesting right now. Chris May says, what does demonetize mean? Basically, it means I cannot make money from ads on the video if YouTube deems the video not appropriate for advertisers. And they have software now that can detect profanity in videos, believe it or not. They have that technology now. And they can flag videos if you use profanity in them. So yeah, that's YouTube in 2019. So I try not to use profanity. But, you know, there was a time where I did have a video demonetized, but I think I also used a lot of profanity in that video. So I just really set myself up for that one. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for tonight. I will be back tomorrow night to talk about SmackDown Live, the first SmackDown Live of the new era of WWE. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It will be after SmackDown ends. Please spread the word, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for another recap of WWE television. Good night to all my party animals out there.